Online Trump supporters are furious after Representative Doug Collins apologized for saying that Democrats were in love with terrorists. So now this is a pretty awful statement. Now, in a tweet posted on Friday morning, Collins had expressed regret for claiming that Democrats only opposed the president's assassination of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani because they support terrorism. He said, quote, "Let me be clear. I do not believe Democrats are in love with terrorists. I apologize for what I said earlier this week." Well, I mean, I'm not going to forgive you for that because that's an unacceptable thing to say. It's 100% awful to charge the Democratic politicians oppose escalation with another sovereign country because they love the terrorists. That is out of bounds. It's a sickening accusation, factually incorrect in every single way conceivable. But look, they go around talking about this willy-nilly. Oh, Democrats love terrorists. No, we don't. That's horrifying. And then, of course, they say Democrats are terrorists, which is even worse. Now, he got a lot of pushback from this, including from Senator Tammy Duckworth. Now, if you're not familiar, Senator Tammy Duckworth served in Iraq, and she was actually wounded greatly. In fact, she said, and this is great, "I left parts of my body in Iraq fighting terrorists." Damn. That is a strong statement. And of course, it's in response to something that is completely disgusting. So now, he apologized because of the massive backlash, and in so doing, angered Trump supporters. So let me give you some examples of this. Kish says, "The Dems are proving they are sympathetic to them out of hatred for the POTUS." Can you imagine believing that? That we're sympathetic to what they consider terrorists. Oh, so we can stick it to Trump. No, that's ridiculous. Absolute projection. Absolute projection. No, look, the problem is that the president nearly started a war with Iran to get senators on his side for impeachment, to get the hawkish senators on his side so he can survive. And that's, by the way, that's reporting from the not so liberal rag, the Wall Street Journal. I know, known for being like a super communist paper. Not only that, but they quote sources inside the White House. Ludwig von Mises says, quote, "These guys are the mob. Never apologize to the mob." I mean, look, disaster, right? We're suddenly the mob. It's crazy. Andrew Build the Wall White says, "But they are. They love terrorists and citizens of foreign nations more than U.S. citizens. Their words and policies make it clear." Which policies? Which words? Is there any proof of that? No. No, look, in reality, we're trying to protect American lives. And we're also, by the way, following the Constitution. You know that thing you guys claim you love? No, we're actually following the Constitution. There was a War Powers Act of 1973, also called the War Powers Resolution, okay, which basically said that if the president, and this is to avoid another Vietnam, Congress voted overwhelmingly on a bipartisan basis to say that if the president wants to do a war, well, then Congress has to vote on that war. Congress has to approve it. And if you're going to do military action, then you can only do it for, I think, the maximum amount of 60 days. Then you got to pull out, unless there is a formal declaration of war. And so all of the president's powers on war is based on that War Powers Act. Now, look, there's a lot of presidents that disregarded that. President Bill Clinton, when it came to the strikes in Kosovo, ignored that. George W. Bush pretty much ignored that, even though he got authorization of military force in Iraq. And now President Trump. And so this is constitutional, even though it tends to get ignored, which is kind of sad. So look, War should only be declared by Congress. And if you want to strike another nation, the least that you should do is inform Congress first. Literally in the Constitution, like I said. Ron Marney says, don't back off. It is clear the Democrats favor the terrorists over our own country. This is not even debatable. Oh, it's not even debatable. Well, okay, I have it on good authority that Ron Marney has sex with dogs. I mean, it's not debatable, right? Not even debatable. Look, I can play the same game, right? I'm using their logic, which is no logic at all. Just throw out a bunch of smears. Same thing that they do. Moy says, you owe them nothing. Never apologize for the truth, which is not the truth. Their actions speak louder than words. They hate America. Yes, we hate America so much that we want to prevent American troops from being killed in the Middle East for corporate profits. And besides, these endless wars have done so much good for the country, costing trillions of dollars, with no benefit to the country at all. Just a benefit to defense contractors and an increase in terrorism, which, by the way, also helps defense contractors because then we're in endless war. Murphy's Law says, what the hell apology? They dug the ditch, not you. What ditch? What are they even talking about? It was Donald Trump that launched the attack against Soleimani when Soleimani was fighting ISIS. Now, the crimes, of course, that Soleimani had done against the United States happened during the Iraq War, where we were the invading aggressor in Iraq and the occupier. I'm not saying what they did was right. I'm also not saying that what we did was right. Where we're all wrong, we shouldn't have been in Iraq in the first place. All right. Pondo Co says, never apologize to the left. Never. Because it looks like the common sense Americans that they most certainly do. No. See, most Americans actually disagree. You have a majority of over 50%. I think it was 55% of Americans that said that these strikes actually made us less safe. Less safe. So, ridiculous. Deplorable Texan says the left mourned. Never apologized to the corrupt lib mob. They gave Iran access to billions of dollars knowing that they would use it towards expanding their influence and wave of terror. The left mourned the death of this radical terrorist like he was a celebrity. They're not on the side of America. Deplorable Texan. You know, you realize that was Iran's money, right? We froze that money. That's their money. And we gave it back as part of a deal to stop them from getting nuclear weapons. And it was working. The plan was working. Now, Trump was jealous that it was working because President Obama had made it. And so he decided to rip up the deal, escalate tensions, and then we were at the brink of war, decided not to go through with strikes. And now he's like, I averted a disaster, I averted war. No, this was a manufactured crisis. And now Iran is definitely going to build nuclear weapons, and I don't blame them. How can you trust America after what our government did? After what our government under Donald Trump has done? You can't. You just can't. And the other point here is nobody on the left mourned this guy. No. We mourn the death of, and Rand Paul put it perfectly when he said, it's the death of diplomacy with Iran. We don't have diplomatic channels anymore. It's going to keep escalating and escalating and escalating. Ridiculous. Now, the only side here, look, the only side that this guy is on the side of Donald Trump. And by the way, Donald Trump is basically only on his own side. And finally, E. Deploribus, not awesome, says, let me be clear, demon crabs are in love with terrorists. See, like, I get it, right? These people are allowed to say the worst things about Democrats and progressives. The absolute worst smears and falsehoods. Now, the second that we hit back, they cry. Oh, how dare you? So much for the tolerant left. You're so uncivil. We believe in facts, not feelings. Well, yeah, I seem to have hurt your feelings quite a bit here. We're not going to be gaslit by you guys. So Trump supporters like this, you're the worst kind of scum. Worst kind of human beings in history. And I'm not sorry at all for saying that. You guys are disgusting, dangerous, deranged, hypocritical cult followers. And if you're listening, I hope you're triggered by this, because I don't give a damn anymore. We will take this country back. And by the way, when we do, we're going to make it better for everyone. Even your racist, sexist, ignorant ass. You're still going to do better under us. So we actually care about all Americans. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.